Hey, all right, here we go. Great verse, amazing verse. His Holy Spirit just really hit me hard with this one, and this is important. There's a lot going on here. This, I'm kind of short, so no shirt fits right. Anyways, all right, here we go. I'm going to read this the way we'll see it in our Bibles, take every word back to its origin, being led by His Spirit who threw this verse right in front of me and really impressed it. And this is so important. Romans 8:28. Romans 8:28. Understand this. Many are called, few are chosen. The harvest is great, the workers are few. Understand it spiritually. The spiritual aspect. Understand the spiritual aspect of His Word. You have to be taught and led through it by Him. Okay, and when you study, please, please, please look at the lexicons. Use the Strongs. Use every tool available to you. But the main thing is you must be led by His Spirit. He makes these words just jump out. He speaks to you. Here we go. Romans 8:28. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to His purpose. All right. So there's that verse. It's beautiful. Does it mean what it says? Yes. The spiritual is played out in the physical. Understand that. Here we go. Let's get right into this. This is great. All right, Romans 8:28. But also, we have turned our eyes of our mind to see clearly at what must be done about our condition of gaining knowledge. We have gained knowledge by this interview, this meeting with God Himself through the gift of His Holy Spirit, questioning and examining His Word, discovering His purpose and intentions. By this experience, we are able to understand the things from His point of view, from the spiritual aspect, and the perfection, and understand the perfection of His love. For all of us, we are able to see ourselves as we truly are, cherishing every word He has spoken by a more continued inspection of it, becoming acquainted with Him who revealed Himself to us through Christ, speaking to each and every individual, whosoever is able to hear His call, to be a partner, laboring together, being guided and led, right? As our shepherd, He leads us, being guided and directed by Him, being in union with His purpose as a companion to complete this process in this transfer where part of His family was taken by deception into this temporal physical place, being separated and lost. At this point in time, we have reached to bring all of those who belong to Him home again, to bring all who belong to Him home again, distinguishing those of a good constitution who are upright and honorable and precious, genuinely approved of, who have joined themselves to Him and His purposes by the purity of their heart, taking control over their own minds, coming into agreement with His Word and being confirmed, firmly established in the truth and strengthened by it, because they have been supplied the definite article of His life-giving Spirit of truth, having love for one another, welcoming them into His family, standing together as one, chiefly of the heart and latter of the mind, being reconciled by this relationship, being likened unto God when you're born again of the Spirit. Because we're in contrast to God when we're born into this world. We're born into death and condemnation, separated from God spiritually, born into death, which is eternal death, is separation from God. That's death. Okay, being likened unto God, having the same Spirit, learning from all our imperfections and straying from His intent, His good will. By His presence that is within us, being invited by God Himself to proclaim the gospel, this good news, obtaining eternal salvation, being set free and delivered from harm, and from being lost to sin and its consequences, becoming members of His kingdom through Christ, being divinely selected and appointed as a saint, embracing His calling, embracing his calling us out of to an abundant feast of understanding his words, this abundant feast of understanding his words through the Spirit, receiving his name, and we are incited by his words and commandments, embracing his judgment, distributing, and we are called to distribute this same knowledge down in place and time to those who are in varied relations concerning their natural opposition, the nature of their own flesh. Placing it in view. We are to place it in view to all those who are in varied relations as showbread for their temple as a proposal. And we're to do so as a proposal. We're to set out the showbread, this bread of life. And Jesus said, I am the bread of life, right? Man shall not live on bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God, right? Placing it in view as showbread, this good news, this gospel, the spiritual truth that's contained in it, for their temple as a proposal for the bride. For whosoever eats and consumes this bread of life, this gospel of Jesus Christ, joining themselves together in this covenant of a marriage, joining themselves to him, having their veil lifted by their bridegroom, who is the only one that has the right to lift the veil of the bride, is the bridegroom, heal their blindness and their deafness, so they too can see clearly, hearing his word and serving him only instead of another, a deceiver, an enemy of God, his adversary. Now, his Holy Spirit told me this. I don't speak like this. I just heard this clearly in my spirit. Who has led many astray, this deceiver, his adversary. It's our own flesh that leads people astray, seducing and enticing them to serve him through spiritual fornication, by separating ourselves and divorcing God our Father and being birthed into this flesh, this physical form, this rotten, dying, withering tree that's been separated from God, that is in contrast to God. We're only likened unto God when we're born again of the Spirit, through this spiritual fornication, taking them captive by their own conceit, the darkness of their own minds, this willful ignorance that holds them in subjection to be judged by their transgressions. That's the way his Holy Spirit revealed it to me. Right there. And that, you have to take a more continued inspection of his word, like a good Berean, right? Abide in my word daily and do it. If you love me, you will abide in my word daily. You will want to have a relationship with him. I wish I could articulate the messages he gives me better. Like I see it perfectly. Look, it's so sinister and evil and wicked, this plan that's going on. And it was revealed to me through many doctors and just people on alternative media. Let's just say that. This mark of the beast that's being administered. Some are getting placebos, man. Because if everybody was having this clotting, this coagulation of the blood, and this splitting and causing their immune system to function in a different way, splitting of their own genetic makeup, right? The way your body's supposed to respond. If everybody was dying and getting sick or becoming sterile, then it would become too obvious. They want to thin the herd, and they want their race, like an animal from its bestial nature. They're our own flesh, like lions and tigers and all these other animals do. They'll kill off the young of others so that their lineage, their offspring will multiply, right? Right? I mean, it should be so clear. It should be so clear. This word is to go out to the whole world. We're to lay it on the table, as showbread, right? For them to partake of it as a proposal. For those, your body is the temple of the living God when you're born again in the Spirit. But until you are, you're connected to this world, and that's why Jesus Christ told the spiritual leaders of the day, who had them scriptures memorized, thought they knew it better than him. He said, "You're of your father, the devil, the serpent. You're wicked. You're spewing venom. You're this image of the beast that's made to speak. You're speaking through your flesh." That's why he told Peter, "Get thou behind me, Satan." And just earlier he was saying, "Blessed are you, for flesh and blood did not reveal this to you, but my Father who's in heaven, that I am the Christ, the Son of the living God." Understand, it's so simple. It's so simple. That's why he's saying, don't fear death. And he came here to comfort us and show us that he has the power to lay his life down and raise it up. And he has that same power that he can do for you, give to you through the gift of his Holy Spirit, reconciling you back spiritually to God. Because when we're born into this world, we're separated spiritually from God. You have to come into an agreement with his word, knowing and understanding the spiritual truth that's contained in it. But look, I can't judge. You have to have complete faith, trust in him and him alone. Because he's the only one. He's God incarnate. He's the only one that can do that. So, we're all different. But this is to wake people up as his saints, as his priests. By being born again of the Spirit, we're to lay this showbread in front of the people, the whole world, as a proposal to the bride. Either they take to it and they come into covenant with him, joining together with him as in a marriage, and they consume his word, or they reject it and they leave it out there. They're comfortably numb. They're covered in darkness, this darkness that deceives them through their own physicality, their own flesh. They're willfully ignorant. Willfully ignorant. They don't want to know the truth. Wake up. That's why I said, do not fear death. Don't love anything or anyone of this world more than him. Put God first. Because if you're putting yourself first, you've made yourself your own God. You've indwelt it. You've made a physical form to indwell. Being birthed into this world, you were led astray by Satan, this evil, wicked spirit that causes chaos and division, causing you to breathe unconsciously, the walking dead. You're only reconciled back to God, born again, when you're born again of the Spirit from above. This gift, receive the gift that Christ came to give us and reveal the truth and show us by comforting us, laying down his life and having the power to lift it up again. I wish I could articulate it better, but it's there. It's right in front of you. Wake up, because it's time to go. You're gonna have to make a decision. This hour of temptation is each individual's lifetime. And look, I know the spiritual's played out in the physical, so it could play out differently in this physical world. But this hour, it's not an hour. It's not a physical specific moment. It's your lifespan. And when you're born again in the Spirit, you're set free. You're reconciled back to God. Death, where's your sting? Spiritual separation, eternal spiritual life. You pass from life, or from death back to life by the gift of his Spirit. You've passed that temptation because you're established. You're firmly established through him. Because he speaks to you and you hear his voice, he lifts that veil so you can see. Once you see the spiritual side of things, there's no going back now. Well, I get it. I mean, if you're truly born of the Spirit, you know, and he wants you to know and have no doubt. He wants you to know, and that's why. But people will leave you, they'll abandon you, they'll reject you, they'll everything else. And a large portion of people who call themselves Christian, because they refuse to accept it. They refuse to accept the truth. Some are given many gifts, some are given a little. Their spiritual knowledge, these gifts, these treasures from heaven, he gives to each by their own ability. I haven't given much because I can't communicate, I can't speak right, but I'm using what he's given me. I'm doing my best, man. So there's that. All right, God bless you. Love, respect everybody. That's what draws people to Christ. Help everybody you can. We're all brothers and sisters in God. We're all God's children. But if you reject him and the truth of his word, now you're of your father of this world, the creator, the Elohim, right? That they were given the talents, ability, knowledge. They're the builders. And we're all Elohim. That's what it says in Psalms 82:6. All Elohim, children of the Most High. So Elohim are children of the Most High. Anybody that says something different, but understand, Elohim are spiritual beings, and the shiny ones, and God is the highest, most high spiritual being. He's the father of all the other spiritual beings. They understand. I still don't see everything perfectly, but I'm just giving out what he's revealing to me. So there's that. All right, God bless you. Do the best you can while we're still here this time, because we're all going to be forced. The plan is so wicked and evil. Some people are getting placebos because they don't want to make it too obvious. It's so wicked. It's so evil. But if you continue to go get these follow-up jabs, eventually you're done too. And some people are younger and stronger, so it's going to, instead of passing, having their physical form wither away, then it might take years. It's just so wicked and evil what they're doing. All right. There's that. God bless you. Have a great day. Bye.